I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, former world record holder for the highest rating in classical Carcassonne online, and with me is also former world record holder for the highest rated classical Carcassonne player online, Otto Ikonen of Finland, better known with his screen name Nalaheim. Hi Otto, great to have you here.
Thank you as always. It's gonna be a wonderful evening. We've been waiting for this for 2 days now, so either Matt or Koki better not fail us, and I do believe that they won't.
Yes, so to remind our viewers who are just joining this channel or are not aware, this match was due to start 2 days ago, and just like 30 seconds before, or as I was about to click to go live 2 days ago, then I got a message from one of the players that unfortunately they're not feeling well, and so they need to cancel the match, and luckily I think we're due to start in 3 minutes with no further interruptions. Of course, the match that we're starting you can see on the scoreboard. This is a Group C match of the round 2 of the Carcassonne Champions League. Group C happens to be one where yours truly is also playing, so I have a special vested interest in watching other players in my group and gathering myself some intel. Of course, this is not the only reason, it's just that StatMat, the 2023 world champion, Matt Tucker, and the Japanese Master Koki Yamaguchi, the creator of the website topcarcassonner.com or .net, I keep forgetting, but basically the website with all the cool puzzles. They are very high rated, both extremely skilled players. I should expect this to be a very close and high level match. So these are all the good reasons why we're here. That's why also I wanted to get myself as high caliber as a special guest as I could have possibly gotten. So Otto, what's your take on the match? Who do you expect is going to be the favorite here, if anybody, or do you have any personal sympathies between these two players?
I really can't say who I'm expecting to win this. I mean, Koki, I do see like less off in competitive tournaments, mainly in like I think in WTCOC, but like in individual competitions, I don't think I've seen him that much. It might be because I only have a few years of experience myself, or maybe because he just doesn't participate all that much. But what he does participate in is the trainings of the Japan Weekly tournaments, and so there he does, I want to say, perform quite well very often. Whereas Matsu, I mean, obviously he has the maybe the most prestige title of being the former world champion, but I feel like Matt might have some issues performing on a world champion level like consistently. So I think we are going to be seeing some inconsistencies, or maybe even major mistakes, maybe one or two coming from Matt in this game, which I think is going to tip the scales for Koki, like just a wee bit.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you sort of, I guess, expect like a 55-45 for Koki. I was thinking maybe like more of a 55-45 for StatMat. And the reason is, even though I think Koki literally has more game experience, you can see Matt has only 1,000 games online. And in fact, I think out of all the world champions, he's the one who has the least experience playing. And so you could say, that's he's less experienced, but also you could say that he's more efficient, just by sort of learning as much in 1,000 game as maybe somebody else learns into 5,000 games. So yeah, Koki with 50% more experience of playing, but I think Koki's experience when it comes to understanding of the game, really like by making that website with puzzles, he has seen hundreds and hundreds of Carcassonne puzzles at this moment. He will be familiar with lots of patterns and a lot of standard situations. So we'll see if Matt can match that. But one thing about Matt, he's also has much more experience competitively. He's also one of the organizers of the Mind Sports Olympiad. He has played both competitive Carcassonne and other competitive Mind Sports at a high level, both in person and online. And in this setting, this is where he would have the more experience. Currently, he's rated at a healthy 650. And Koki at 728, so a master level rating. In this metric, the advantage goes to the Japanese player, but the only metric that matters is the one that we will see in about 2 hours, which is the final score on the match scoreboard. And the match has indeed started. The first game has just appeared on your screens. StatMatt, that's Matt Tucker's screen name, is playing his traditional yellow meeples, a choice of color which I certainly approve of, and he gets the starting player advantage. Start a new city. Koki starts a new city in response, opening an attacking platform against Matt's city at the same time. Matt can't really do anything about this, uses his new platform to start a new road. And Koki now with a city cap, thinking either to finish his city or to invade Matt's field, Matt's city rather, and he does make the standard and also the best move of invading Matt now with a fantastic tile, which I like to call the butterfly. And also apparently earlier today from one of our viewers, I found out that there's a Russian slang term for this tile which calls it an umbrella, which I actually like quite a lot for many reasons. Both because of the shape, but also because it works out very nice in English, because you can use the word umbrella term to mean term which covers a lot of different concepts, and this tile covers a lot of different things. So you can see that Matt uses this tile for 3 purposes. One is to complete his road on one side, the other one is to start a new city, and the third one to obstruct the development of Koki's city, which now immediately works because Red is not able to place this tile over here and finish his city and start a new one. Instead, he's gonna go also make a decent move, maybe just going over here, trying to put additional pressure on this square, and maybe hope for a Dorito plus triple city sequence, trying to overrun the city. But instead,
I absolutely loved the move that he did, and it was actually the only move that I had in mind that was worth doing here.
Really?
Yeah, because like it is not leaving an empty city cap lying. Like Matt can definitely wait with the city on the right here, and in case Koki would be trying to go for a triangle and a triple city shenanigans here, he would have to leave a city cap facing Matt's road, which probably gives him some extra value, or at the top, which might not work out so well either, because it's not only is it still leaving just an empty city cap, but then Matt will be able to easily meeple the field with any tile next to Koki's 1-point city and restrict it even more, and then have like 4 uncompleted cities on it, which is like huge.
This actually makes it interesting, because apparently the two commentators have quite a profound disagreement at the very start of the game. So this move is very double-edged, and I certainly see the downside of the move on the left. But the reason why I stopped doing moves like this, like Koki did so often, is because of the safety of this city. So on one hand, it very nicely sets up a Dorito with 5 points that goes through here. But on the other hand, now Matt needs only 2 more moves as opposed to 3 more moves that can block the square completely. Moreover, with the city cap going over here, he can very often draw something like a starting tile and create a attacking platform or a blocking platform against this city with tempo. Now he doesn't bother, actually. He just goes with a straight road, which also restricts his own field, but it also has the advantage of trying to block this meeple. So it looks like we're heading into a very closed, blocky kind of situation, and Koki does not get a defense tile. Instead, he's forced to either roll the dice and leave the square empty or make the subpar move of adding 1 point to Matt. And probably he actually might have to do that move because you really, really hate losing that meeple. Also an interesting situation I didn't quite expect, but it makes some sense that Koki chose to attack the city at the top. I wonder, just want to ask you, Otto, in a second, if that's something what you expected. So, of course, he will be needing quite a lot of tiles to complete that city, but if that's successful, the 14 extra points or even more will be added to Red's scoreboard. So, first of all, with this tile over here, Otto, would you actually add the point to Matt's city, or would you do what Koki just did?
I would just roll the dice with the 1 point going to Matt. I mean, he would then only have 3 tiles effectively in his use to make the immediate block, which is not a lot, considering there is like almost 60 tiles still remaining. And this move doesn't really have all that much value like elsewhere, really. Like, yeah, he's building up the potentially a large city / ruin, but like it's still only like adding 1 point when you have a meeple in a direct line of threat. So I don't really like it.
So I have to agree with you, but the Japanese player goes for the concept move, leave the square empty, and it looks like it pays off. Now, Matt draws a monastery, which he meepled it here for 4 points, which a move that does make actually quite a lot of sense. It's also put some pressure on these squares, so Koki will need to take care about his top city at the top. Now, I wonder why the Japanese player is thinking about this, because it seems to me that the obvious move here is to do exactly what he just did. Maybe he needed to... he was thinking whether to meeple this road. But given the fact...
extra?
I think that's extra. I think that's really extra.
Yeah.
Given the fact that there's only 1 meeple remaining for him. But wait a second. Actually, there's some merits. You know what this road meeple does? It tries to protect this city over here because, for example, now Matt cannot draw a triple crossroads and go over here and meeple this road and obstruct the city. And if Matt chooses to obstruct the city, for example, with a straight line or a curve, then at the very least he's will be forced to add a point to Koki's road. And now it pays off just so much like a charm. He completes his city, gets out of danger, and also pre-finishes a 6-point road, which goes through his own city over here. There are still 5 tiles that fits over here for a 97% chance that Red is going to draw it in the game. So Red is just making some bets which end up paying off quite nicely. Matt, though, with an equal position, has the first farmer, which will be a well-placed farmer eventually once this city is completed. It has the first monastery, now managed to successfully equalize the city threat of Red on the left, or at least come close to that. The only issue is maybe this meeple over here is mildly dangerous, but at this early stage of the game, maybe not something to be concerned with. Now, as Matt decides where to use this horse tile, either to connect to the monastery or take the 2 points, which also restrict his a bit field and take out the monastery spots. I'm not sure about that. So he did this. Possibly his plan is to draw another extender and go over here and attack the city with a 3rd meeple and that get 2 straight lines. not two straight lines, but two Dorito to try and create a huge, huge ruin. But this is not what happens. Instead, he draws a city cap to get himself a meeple back for 4 points, a scoreboard lead, but only temporary, as Koki is looking to cash in big once he draws this Dorito tile. But this is not what he has right now. He has a cow tile that would fit very nicely in this square. Of course, he's not going to help Matt. He's not going to place that tile over here. But where will he place it? Is he going to go over here and attack the city with a third meeple, whilst also restricting yellow's field, with the downside of adding a monastery point to yellow? Or will he maybe go over here, trying to block this square and get himself a majority, a points majority, in a mini battle on this long ruin?
I believe that the mini battle would make the most sense, because like if he goes to the ruin battle, like Matt can easily just drop a third meeple on that ruin, but entering the ruin battle might also mean that he might want to potentially get the whole ruin to himself, and that triple city hole, which currently resides next to the monastery, is not going to be the biggest, let's say, pleasure for Koki, even though it might work in his favor, because Matt has invested one of his meeples to the field. But I think if Koki goes for the massive battle of the ruin, then he needs to take care of the situation with his road triangle first, to get the actual reserve to do it, even though there are still 5 tiles for it remaining. But I believe that is something that needed to be done before going for a huge impact move like that.
And that's why he does not go for it. He does not go for the battle. Instead, he goes for the mini battle approach, just simply trying to build a big ruin on this side and maybe block the square and leave Matt with a smaller part of the ruin over here. This is not something that should be a really big concern of Matt, because he can still get a Dorito tile and a cow tile to build some very nice 6-7 point ruin on this side, while also building up his monastery. So for example, as Matt, I'm now thinking about actually making this move anyway. And alternative is maybe going over here and starting a 4-point road, given the fact that there's still 4 curves available to complete a 4-point road, and also actually expand Matt's field significantly. So let's see if yellow cares about that. But whilst we're watching, let's catch up with the chat. Hi Napami, hi Glovier, hi Kirillo, hi VMappa, hi Sergey. And to answer some questions, well, Kirillo does find a lot of unexpected moves in Matt, so he has a similar sentiment to you. I've just played Matt for so long that I kind of can expect what his moves are going to be. Koki finishes the road, decides not to drop a farmer just yet, because there's still a chance that Matt could draw this tile that fits over here. It now be very interesting to see if he actually goes there, decides not to wait for a curve, doesn't care about expanding his field too much just yet, simply wants to cash in on 6 points for both of these roads, renew his scoreboard lead and a parity on meeples. This field is still small, but it has a couple of green squares for potential development, and this is what the Brit is counting on. In the meantime, VMap is asking, are the Brazilian players still in competition? And the answer is yes. The Brazilian player with screen name Warta is still doing okay in Group G. They lost their first match, but that was just 1 week. They still have 4 more matches to go and all the chances to qualify. So Koki now with a dagger tile and an interesting decision. Do you just start a new city at the bottom in the safest possible place, or do you go over here trying to start a city in a square which is a little bit vulnerable, but upon completion it would gain 6 instead of 4 points? So Otto, would you have done the same as red, or would you have gone for the greed?
I would, yeah, just go for the 4-point city. Maybe not on the same spot as Koki did. I think I would have gone like on the bottom left and tried to already restrict the 3-point city that Matt ended up taking, like already. Also to try and make claiming a 3-point road a little bit harder, because now Koki ended up making a 3-point road which can be claimed with any road end, whereas if he goes on the bottom left, there are significantly less tiles which Matt can score quick points with. And maybe Matt might be even a bit more hesitant to take that 3-point city in the first place if it were to be restricted in the first place, with Koki's city cap being directed at the bottom.
Yeah, I also think that for this reason, this move was a little bit more precise, but now, of course, it works out quite nicely for Koki as he gets a wonderful blocking tile that gives him 2 points for road initially, but puts this annoying city piece next to Matt's road, so it now will be much harder for him to complete his city. He will need to either draw a lot of triangles and big tiles to add over here, and then try to finish it like this. And this is less likely given how many big tiles have already been drawn and how many Doritos have already been drawn. The other route, which appears what Matt is going for, is giving himself the chance of drawing one of the 2 splitter tiles by saying goodbye to this city piece, then getting another city cap and finishing a little but efficiently scoring 14-point city with 5 tiles like this. Also wanted to point out that this road over here that Koki's created is indeed, in fact, not ideal. For example, if Matt were to draw a tile like this, he could not only score 3 points, but also cause some annoyance to this red meeple over here. But on top of that, he doesn't even have to go for a 3-point move. He could just easily draw a curve and go for another 4-point road, whilst also creating the attacking platform against the city. And this is the move that I expect to play. He will, of course, be taking his time. One of the things which Matt is known for, sometimes quite facetiously, that he does like to take his time. And Koki, in the meantime, scores 2 points at the top, which also had the added effect of limiting Matt's fields considerably. Now, there are no obvious green squares where he could drop something like a splitter or a horizontal splitter for that matter. So then this begs the question, Otto, do you go over here, go for the top equity move of the 4-point road, or do you go over here, try to start a 4-point road like this with potential of expanding your field further with 2 more curves and taking all of these squares and these cities into the main field as well?
That is the more intriguing move to me, because, well, Matt obviously wants the best scenario for him to happen, which is that Koki actually draws none of the road triangles. And if that happens, then Matt would be left with a 3-point field only, which is not that great. So, given that he now has the chance, and he actually only has 2 tiles in hand and not that many places to get meeples out of, he might be a bit more hesitant to actually even start a loop road, but he does that anyway. But I would certainly, in his position, actually give it a big consideration of just trying to get those few extra green squares and possibilities to expand the field even further. Maybe just even for the reason that Koki might have to use a meeple to attack the field at some point.
But Matt indeed goes for the 4-point road, just not quite the square that I expected. I think this move here was just a little bit stronger, given the fact that it would expose an attacking platform against Koki's city. Because now, for example, imagine if Matt draws one of the 5 remaining straight lines, then he's sort of running out of productive move that he can make. If he were to place the curve over here, then with a straight line, he can follow up and impose quite a significant restriction against the square over here. Now, this option is non-existent. The best that he could do with straight line is maybe going over here or just trying to only slightly harass Red's city, which is a significant difference when it comes to the probability of Red eventually getting his meeple back. But a straight line is not the tile that Matt drew, and now he needs to make an important decision with this Dorito tile. The decision here is almost strategic. It's kind of asking the question, what kind of game you want to play? And he decided that he does not want to go for the divider anymore. He can't just stand the tension. And instead, he simply uses this tile to add the points, which is his highest scoring move initially. But then, of course, it has the downside of exposing these platforms. He could have also gone over here, just finished his monastery, but then again, it would have exposed potential attacks against this city, trying to run away with like 30 points. So he didn't want to do that. Or he could have even gone over here, starting a new city, which, by the way, he would have already completed, but who would have known? So he could have started a new city over here, but he didn't go for it. Koki, in the meantime, keeps restricting Matt's field, also now trying to put pressure against Matt Monastery. Yellow now with a dagger tile, and again, dilemma. Now we're entering a phase of the game where both players seem to be needing the same tiles in various places. And now the choice for Matt is twofold. Either finish his road and just use this dagger tile as a curve, and then get his meeple back and expose Koki's city square a little bit, or go over here, be aggressive, place your last meeple on a city and try to run away with a 10-point city over here, which is risky, but certainly something that our viewers, I have no doubt, would appreciate. Or option 3, maybe just going over here, what he just did, adding 1 point to his city, and maybe getting some threats of actually completing that city and running away with the points. So, Otto, do you like Matt's move here, or would he have gone for a different approach?
I have to say my approach would have been a bit less ambitious. I think I would have just taken my road meeple back and tried to live with not being able to use the city cap as a city cap. But I do like this move also, especially because there are like all kinds of city caps still left and the dividers. So there's very little that Koki can do with one tile. So he's gonna need a series of tiles, and he's not gonna be getting a series of tiles at least immediately. So the plan does seem to be paying off quite well at the moment, but I still would say that I would not do this.
And just as you're saying this, Matt probably just won the game on the spot in 3 moves. Yeah, I have to say, actually, I really like this idea, but not only because it worked, but also because, as you said, with the 2 splitters remaining, it's kind of like it's not easy. It wasn't easy for Red to do something about this. And you see, Red drew a Dorito tile that they needed anywhere here in the first place, so they couldn't attack the city. And once Matt covered up on this side, there was just nothing that Red could have done. So a lot in Carcassonne is about creating threats. Even if Yellow were not able to complete his city, even if Red were to block it somehow, most of the time Red probably would have used quite a lot of valuable tiles to do so, or in situations like this, Red actually didn't invade that city at all, and Matt ends up with, how much was that worth? Like 20 points, 22 points for the city. So a massive, massive gain. Cherry on top is that it adds 3 points to this farmer, so now Yellow won't really need to worry about developing his field, because Yellow can also get a monastery meeple back. The road meeple is a bit in trouble, but probably Yellow can even survive without this. And now Red is in the position that they need to try and cook something up, some sort of a comeback plan. And the splitter tile is a good way to start. A couple of interesting alternatives. So the one that is a move that most Carcassonne players consider immediately is just using the splitter as a splitter. Going over here, leaving Matt with a 4-point city and ourselves with an 8-point city. But Koki went for the more aggressive approach, trying to take a 4-point city at the top and leave a potentially 6-point city potentially empty. So very, very aggressive move here. And let's see how Matt responds. So first of all, Otto, like if you're looking at this monastery tile, how big of a concern is this free city? Because red could have a city cap that goes over here for 6 points. And then the question is it worth going over here and trying to do something about this? Matt says no, takes 2 points. Also give himself some green squares into the field. So this is something that was your concern before, but Matt's managed to get a tile that can give his field a chance for development. It's not that he has to have to develop his field in order to win, but now he has the option to. Koki with an interesting tile. Presumably also want to make an aggressive move. He might go over here or over here on the right, trying to attack the shared city from one of the sides. Or he could go over here at the top, meepling that city indirectly, hoping for one of the 2 remaining road Doritos. And then taking an 8-point city, but instead he chooses to permanently block Mad's road meeple, even though normally there are 3 butterfly tiles that would fit into the square. All of them are on the board, so this meeple will not be seeing the lights of day, but this decision has a price, as Koki is sacrificing quite a lot of points in order to do that, and Matt gets probably the best tile that he could have hoped for at the moment, but he's not making his move instantly. Because it's really not an obvious decision between just taking 6 points over here and potentially leaving 1 more city cap and a field up for grabs, or maybe taking 4 points in his own field whilst also finishing the monastery, but then again exposing a reinvasion platform against this big city. So which of the 2 moves do you prefer here, Otto, and is there any third alternative here?
I gotta say, I would more or less instantly actually go for the 6-point city here, because I feel like even though Koki does have 3 more meeples, I think we are in a good enough position where we can just wait for a triple city, or maybe even a triangle if it really comes to getting the monastery meeple out. But with the meeple advantage of Koki, I would not be surprised one bit if he goes for a sort of a Hail Mary move with like any city cap or even a triangle or something, and tries to win this more or less shared city, like all to himself. Which I believe he might have to actually try and use at some point if Matt does not cover up, because this 6-point city that Matt has now left there open, combined with the 9-point field that follows up with it, I don't think are going to be, they are not going to be nearly enough for Koki, because Matt is already leading by more than 20 points, like just on the scoreboard. So pretty much the only large feature that is on the board which Koki should be investing his time on really at the moment as a priority is the shared city, in my opinion.
And this is why Matt now has an incredible dilemma in this move, because obviously Koki drew a triple city tile just to score 2 points and restrict Matt's field a little bit. Matt now has a crossroad tile, and he needs either to just ignore the square and take 2 points, and then roll the dice and maybe allow Koki to draw a sequence of Dorito plus some quadruple city tile, or maybe city cap, Dorito triple city tile. This invasion through above is also possible. Or he can sacrifice the points and go over here just for the sake of blocking that opportunity. This would have the added disadvantage of blocking this square in such a way that would not allow yellow the connection to this ruin, so yellow will be stranded with 3 points, but Matt decided that he's so far in the lead that he's going to do this anyway. Do you agree with the former world champion here, Otto, or would you assess that as overly cautious?
I do agree, yeah, because I think we are in such a comfortable lead at the moment that the only thing we have to worry about at the moment, at least before a 6+9 scene occurs for Koki, if ever, is that we take care that the worst of the worst doesn't happen. Like, we can totally live with being in a minor losing mini battle against the city of 5 points, but like, you know, on the scoreboard we are +20, we have a 12-point field, so that puts us at +32. We have a 2-point draw, +34, 35 from the 1-point city on the right versus the 3-point city of Koki, which is eventually going to be shared, most likely. I mean, we are just doing fantastically at the moment. And like I said, the only thing we have to be worried about at the moment is that the worst of the worst doesn't happen. And that is exactly what Matt does.
And the worst of the worst indeed is just mathematically impossible to happen, because there's no way of this city to be completed anymore, because again, the square is blocked and all. But some bad things can still happen to yellow. So red here decides to forgo the 6-point monastery and start a new field. Matt is trying to block the little 6-point city. Now there's only 1 tile remaining for the square, so it's not actually that easy to claim that city. But this does not mean that red does not have any routes into the game. Red could still get... Oh wait, this is completely... No. There's still 1 tile that fits there. So red could get still the dagger that fits here by getting themselves 6 points for the city and then 1 extra, and then 3 extra for the farm, so that would be a 9-point move. And red could also do what they are doing. They're now trying to attack Matt's field, and because they have more meeples, they can even drop another farmer over here, or over here, or over here like this, and connect through the outside of the curve. So many possibilities. And so they can actually score 12 points twice. Once for equalizing Matt's field, and a second time for overrunning it. And this possibility was actually the reason why I was a bit apprehensive about Matt's decision to go over here. It's not just the fact that he exposed this connection platform against his city, which he then needed to sacrifice equity in order to prevent, in order to neutralize, but also the fact that he's growing the field a little bit more, and by growing the field more, he's sort of exposing it more, because now there's an opportunity for Koki to score 12 points and 12 points again. So that's 24 points for 2 meeples, and 2 meeples is what Koki has. He still has meeples to spare even after this farmer, because Matt has just started a new city at the bottom. And now a straight road for Koki, who's going to decide whether to complete the field's connection or whether to delay it and just go here, try obstruct Matt's city a little bit, or maybe do something else entirely, like such as go for a Hail Mary and drop a second farmer, setting up one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 remaining curves to go over here and bringing 2 farmers in the field at the same time.
Yeah, I think like just attaching your first farmer in would be, well, kind of a good thing here. But well, we'll come back to we'll come back to that in a second. But the reason why I was why I wanted to see the first farmer getting in is that we would be able to get a second platform to harass the city of Matt, even though it would be with the same tiles, with the same road tiles as on the lower side. But we do kind of need to make sure, or well, in my mind, we needed to make sure that Matt is not going to be able to drop another farmer once he finishes that city, if he does so. And because we want to, or we rather need to think a little positive here. What my plan would have been was we attach ourselves to the 12-point field with the straight road, then we get another road tile go on the very bottom left, harass the city of Matt once again, and drop another farmer. But seemingly Koki doesn't agree, and even though there were still actually 2 crossroads remaining, which would be a scary thing for me if I were to go for that plan, he just doesn't care.
And
well, he does have, he obviously does have another route to the field, like from the top side as well, but because we want to think the best way possible, we are obviously going to be assuming that we get the connection from the bottom.
Indeed, but so you see it like one of those other instances where Koki chooses to play more risky but more efficient with his tile, and it completely pays off because still now 2 curves remaining, 75% chance to connect without having to use many extra tiles. But Matt, in the meantime, having himself some compensation of his own, he's now 1 tile away from finishing himself another nice 16-point city. The only move that should keep our British fans a little bit nervous is the fact that there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, only 2 Dorito tiles remaining. So Koki could, in theory, go over here, and try to block the square completely before Matt draws a tile to complete his own city. Koki now with a starting tile, which is a tile that he cannot use to attack the city directly. I guess he could theoretically go over here, try to create a blocking platform, and then hope that he can do something before Matt draws a Dorito. He could just drop it near his farm, trying to build up some more scoring potential, but he decides that his city is, that Matt's city is too dangerous, and Matt, with a bit of help from Koki, because this city cap was put there by Red, manages to complete his city, and even though Koki successfully reinvades, Matt now draws the last crossroads, which he's going to use to score either 2 points directly, or he's just going to go over here and try a 6-point loop. And I don't think Matt even going to bother reinvade the field.
Nah,
he's just going to score.
Yeah, he's not going to need the field anymore. He's so far ahead.
Yeah, and he just goes for the direct invasion, just in case this move actually does set up some field invasion platforms if he needs it. He could draw something, over here and connect like this through a curve or a straight line. Many possibilities, but I doubt that he will actually need this because Matt has had 36 points on the board, and Koki has only 5 points extra on the city in the mini battle, so that's 31. 2 points in this mini battle, technically, which get cancelled by this 2-point road. And Red has the field, 6 points over here and 15 points over here. That's 21. That still puts Matt 10 points ahead and an extra meeple to spare. So an extremely difficult situation, yet not one that is completely impossible to climb out of, and I can see at least a couple of scoring opportunities. The main one is this 9-point move over here, because the dagger has not yet been drawn, and Red now really needs to hope that they're going to draw the dagger. Then, of course, there's the city cap that's lying around on the left for 4 potential points. And then there's also the chance to score 6 points in 2 turns, or rather 5 points in 2 turns, with a curve over here and a Dorito tile over here. So that's a way to score, and this is actually something that Koki might go for. So like this, adding a point to his ruin and also building up a 4-point road. Well, we know that not all of that will be relevant, as Matt actually draws the last starting tile and doesn't even bother taking the 6-point city, for the reason that this 6-point city is only a net 3-point move, because he would be expanding Koki's field in the process. That would give him 3 points. So he goes for the net 4-point move, which is the 4-point city, plus it also takes out this city cap. So if Koki would draw a different city cap, then Koki can no longer take advantage of these 4 points. we see that red does indeed go for the road, but rather than placing a meeple on it, he goes for the pre-building route, hoping to draw the curve later. The last curve is in fact drawn by Matt, who will make the score completely not safe for work by going over here and putting himself a nice 44 points ahead, 77 versus 33, so very even-looking numbers. Koki with a straight line decides to simply pre-build a long road, which he could meeple later on. Mads with a city tile, probably looking to.
I don't think he's gonna aiming for the road. He's gonna be doing something he should have done with his earlier straight road, because there is still one road monastery remaining, so there is a possibility of getting 9 points via that route. Though it is now a bit less likely to have to be actually completed, because several of the curves which were still remaining in the game a while ago are not longer remaining in the game. So I mean, that option of building a 9-point monastery was live like 3 moves ago, but it's not really live anymore.
And the sad part for Koki is the fact that he has only one meeple, so even if he does meeple the monastery and does somehow finish it, then he will not be getting the extra 8 points for this road. So that's why you really want to be having meeples when you do stuff like this. Of course, Koki is still trying to score, dropping city cap in his field. Matt neutralizes the city cap. Koki gets a monastery, just not the kind of monastery that he wanted. Just dumps it in his field. He's not planning to meeple it. Matt, with a lovely scoring move, now wishes he would have meepled this road. He now pre-meeples the road. Oh! So the point of Matt's move was, of course, pre-meepling this road and just making sure that if Koki gets the monastery, then Matt will get the extra road point. But Matt gets the monastery himself to make the score extremely unpleasant for our Japanese fans, and will be like plus 50, plus 40? I don't know. Let's find out in a second.
Yeah, it's gonna be something ridiculous for sure. Like, I would say, like, after the bottom left city, and after the final triangle that Matt got, or well, final one for him, which he got to actually complete it. Like, I don't know about the winning, the exact winning chances of either player, but I would say that it was gonna be like 98% for Matt at that point,
if not more. Yeah, so 30 points is the difference. This city, probably the game decisive feature, just managing to cover it up with this tile and then running away with it. So Milik is saying, felt like Matt was drawing perfect tiles. I would say this was the case for a second part of the game, for sure. But at this point of the game, he kind of has secured the win anyway, like finishing this city. And then towards the end, of course, the road plus monastery combo definitely contributed a lot for the point difference. But with this city, actually, I don't think it was any crazy luck or sort. Because before making moves like this with these city caps, what players do at the top level, they actually try to evaluate or at least estimate the probabilities of drawing those tile sequences, and at that point there were still a lot of city caps remaining. Most vanilla's bow splitters were still remaining that made invasions of the city difficult and the completion of the city a little bit easy. And also, Koki was kind of unfortunate, or maybe fortunate, that he drew the tile that he already needed in another place at the moment where he could have attacked Matt's city. And it was just really difficult choice between the two, and he went for the move which I still think was best. And that's what gave Matt the extra time and try to complete that city. So it may look like luck, but it was certainly luck that was orchestrated and pre-planned. So regardless of the tile draws or what we think about them, the score on the board is what it is. Matt will be taking that first game, and Koki now will be trying to respond. The second game has started. The Japanese player is the starting player, so they will have that statistical advantage, and they are now trying to put their city caps to good use. They're having one splitter on the left, starting a 4-point city, another city on the right, starting a 4-point city. There are no points yet scored and cashed in on somebody's scoreboard, but red with slightly more stuff on the board at the moment. Matt with a dagger tile, now probably either looking to go over here, that will be sort of the most obvious efficient move, kind of starting a new city like this next to red and adding 1 point to the monastery. So that will be the only way how he could take advantage of both the both the road and the city element on the tile. He goes for that approach, but it's certainly something that he could or should have considered is going over here up top, starting a new city that kind of supports this invasion over here potentially, and also obstruct Red City. And because Matt didn't do it, Red is now trying to do to Matt what Matt did to Koki last game, and this is run away with the 20-point city. But Matt draws a starting tile to reinvade. This, of course, opening another potential square for reinvasion from here. Koki does not draw a tile to capitalize, get a straight road, probably looking to start a 3-point road by himself, and then looking to create a platform to either connect to this city with a third meeple or to block the invasion square for yellow.
Would you ever consider just blatantly attacking the 3-point road of Matt here?
But then the question is, why would you do that? Because if you go over here, which is a consideration, of course, then you are spending a tile to attack a 3-point road, which is basically spending a tile on getting 3 points. Because you're getting Matt's 3 points, right? But then if you go over here, well, you just get the 3 points straight up. And you also expose that platform which you want to expose. Matt,
I think it would be like more just for the sake of Matt not being really able to use a crossroad that well. Like then he would be he could still take away his road meeple, but that would also give some benefits to Koki, because that crossroad would go also towards his road. Whereas like if Matt just takes 3 points at the top with the crossroad, then he exposes his attack to being possibly a bit vulnerable. So there's like some merit. I'm not saying there's all that much, but there's some.
Well, some, but not enough for the Japanese player to actually opt for that move. And it looks like this move could bite him a little bit, because now Red almost wishes that he had taken this meeple back, because Red now with a difficult decision. So he could go over here and complete the connection to get the at least temporary 2 versus 1 majority on the city. But then there's this dangerous platform, and he decides, I'm shocked, he decides not to go there. And of course, if you were to go there, this would allow Matt to go over here and reinvade the city with another meeple through a triple city. So it's a big question whom actually this platform benefits. As the Japanese player, I probably would have still rolled the dice, and the main reason for that is the fact that the quadruple city has gone out. So this means that even if Matt successfully invades over here, or at least sets up the invasion, it will still be possible for Red to build up on the left and try to block the square completely, restricting it to a quadruple city tile, because the one and only quadruple city tile on the deck is already on the board. Matt decides to ignore this city again. Very interesting how he chose not to invade, and it looks like we're really in a big game of chicken, because the reason why Matt doesn't want to invade, he doesn't want for this square to get blocked, in which case he'll lose 2 meeples. It's almost like it's too risky for either side to connect, because like if you connect like this, then your opponent could re-attack and win the city. But if you don't connect, you're still exposing that platform. But if you use that platform and try to get a majority on the city, you could get yourself meeples blocked. So very curious to see how this situation develops. Koki now with a Dorito tile and the same dilemma. Does he go over here? Does he go maybe over here, equalizing Mad City on this side, which is probably the safest move, or he could just ignore it entirely. He could go over here, continue his city, trying to prevent it from getting blocked. He could continue his city at the right, trying to build up a little star-shaped city like this, or he could just go at the bottom, trying to simply deny Matt an empty city cap. And Koki goes for the safest move, invading the city with a third meeple, but more importantly, denying Matt the joy of invading with a third meeple. Koki decide that, you know what, Matt has completed enough big cities for this match, and yellow's trying to block a red square here, which makes sense. There are now only 2 tiles that left for the connection, and immediately Koki Yamaguchi draws a tile that gives him a equality in the city, and just as red was getting ready to draw a Dorito and connect to this square, now Matt is the one with the Dorito tile to equalize this invasion over here. It's a very interesting situation with the city. Now it favors definitely the play with the yellow meeples, because there is still one attacking platform against the city over here, but it's very difficult to use because there are only 2 tiles remaining that fit there. And the reason why this benefits Matt is because that he has this city piece on the right, which he can use to dump a couple of points and then maybe block the square and have a bit of a winning mini battle. Koki with a scoring tile, probably looking to just get some quick points here. Maybe has some other alternative. Matt with a lovely move, trying to pre-build a 6-point road whilst also delaying the construction of Koki's city. Koki does clean out the city cap, denies Matt the 4 points, takes the 4 points himself, equalizes on the scoreboard, and now soon is preparing to equalize on meeples with one of the 7 remaining crossroads if he draws them for the road. Matt, with a city cap of his own and a variety of choices, decides to protect his road and also start a new city and also drop a city cap in what's going to be his field. Straight line for Koki, chooses to not add a point to his monastery but just make it much harder for Matt to complete his city, and I think that he's even considering dropping a farmer. Now the question here, would you have dropped the farmer auto with your last meeple? So even though it's your last meeple, the tempo on the field could really mean a lot in this game. It has a lot of green squares and potential for development. Or do you like the more conservative approach of the Japanese player?
I certainly would be very hesitant on dropping the final meeple at that stage, because it would not be an issue if you had a lot of meeples like easily retrievable, but you don't. You have 2 city caps, the daggers, and the road ends, but you have nothing else to get meeples back with. So that's pretty horrible, actually, when you think about it. And whereas when you kind of mirror that situation to Matt, well, Matt has 5 straight roads, and he has the city caps, and he has an extra meeple in hand. So, you know, I don't call myself a rocket scientist, but I would say that most often that exchange would not end up being so all that pleasant or even work in like maybe not like in most cases, but like for a long period of time, because with 50 tiles remaining and only having like 10 tiles or so of getting meeples back, it doesn't feel that great.
Indeed, and that's why the Japanese player went for the more conservative approach, and I think the majority of top players would have done the same. I also would not have placed a farmer here, so I like this move. But I can tell you, I can name you one player who would have dropped a farmer there from the elite players. That's Mikhail Rus. He really likes doing stuff like this. I mean, he was peaking over 800 at some point, now a little bit less active, but certainly one of the most active players, and he tended to very often place his last meeple just for the sake of the tempo on the field. And some interesting occasions there, as Matt is steering the game into the type of position that he prefers most, is the one with few meeples per side, everything blocked or restricted, and it's already getting himself some gains. So, first of all, with this curve, Matt opened a blocking platform against this meeple, a severe threat, which is why Koki chose to sacrifice a rodent, sacrifice a monastery, just to decrease the chances of a block. And so he went for this indirect defense. Then, after this move by Matt, which slightly restricted this road, Red drew another rodent, which could have gone over here to get himself a meeple back, but he decided to sacrifice points again, just for the sake of protecting his meeple. And it looks like it's paying off, because had he not done that, Matt would have gone with the curve over here and block this meeple. It's not something that's happened just yet, but in the meantime, Matt is preparing another block. We're having a very vertical map. I've been zooming out a lot of times. So this move over here, preparing an obstruction against this city. This one's not that dangerous, because even if you get a city tile, there will still be 2 tiles that fit into that square, but still, that will be a severe delay against this meeple. And if you're the player with the red meeples, especially after Matt completed his road for 6 points, you really want to get one of your meeples back as soon as possible. So a curve is added to the road of the top, now making it much more flexible. Now any road then fits into this square. Yellow does not draw a tile to block, probably looking to just finish his city and drop a farmer, really. That's already super strong position. Okay. Decides not to drop a farmer just yet. I'm a bit surprised, because this field looks amazing. I guess...
It does, but again, it comes to the situation where Koki, again, doesn't have many tiles really to get meeples out, and I think he's really going to be wanting a meeple back before placing anything on this field, even if he would not actually be able to get the inner side of the field before Matt enters that. I think he's going to take his chances, and then later on wait until he gets a possibility to invade it from somewhere.
Maybe, but then if you're playing as Matt, you don't know for sure that red is going to think as well. Because if you're yellow, you have to be liking your position. Like, you're ahead on the scoreboard on meeples. Your opponent's construction projects have experiencing significant delays. And at some point, red might decide that enough is enough, and they're just going to drop their last farmer and then just hope that their next tile is a meeple retrieving tile, such as a crossroads or a dagger over here. And then lo and behold, they do get that tile. And then they equalize the field, and Matt can't do anything about this.
But does that really even matter if Koki drops? Okay, well,
told ya.
We are about to see, but I still don't think this is gonna be going as well for Koki. Like, I think he's gonna be still without meeples for a long time here, and with Matt with 3 meeples in hand, he's gonna be having like no issues whatsoever dropping a second meeple as soon as possible. Maybe like adding this double city cap on the left side of his field, creating 2 city caps, leaving them both open, and just waiting to get 1 city cap finished, and then voila, there is your second field attacking prospect.
And it looks like the game could be headed that way. I like your idea. I feel that this is not what Matt's going to do. Matt's, I think, is going to really play against Koki's blocked meeples. I think he's going to go over here at the top and meeple one of those caps and try to stick it into Koki's road. Told ya. Koki immediately draws a dagger and gets a meeple back. Like, I felt that coming a mile away. And, well, at least they're equalized on the field, and they're still alive. Like, they're still alive. Matt, of course, with this move, was trying to start a new city and restrict the square. This probably will end up working. They now can go over here and pose some more dangers to the square, or they can just actually go over here and restrict this square instead, because after this move there's only one dagger remaining that fits here, and also clean off another city cap. So still plenty of ways how to abuse this precariously placed red meeple. So out of these options, Otto, what's your favorite punishment?
I believe I would just go for a steady approach at one point to my city on the right, facing upwards. I think, yeah, facing upwards seems reasonable, because even if we were to be unable to block the square, I mean, in some cases we might even like direct it to the left afterwards and tie both red and yellow meeple to the city, which I don't think would be such a bad idea, because now we are in a minor lead of 6 points. We have a 1 point winning mini battle at the moment, and Koki is not going to be adding a triple city into the shared feature in a near future at all. And with 2 meeples in hand versus 1 of Koki, we have much more freedom, which is going to be very handy.
Well, actually, about not adding the tile in the shared city anytime soon, I'm not sure about that, because as Koki's further behind, as Matt does go for the more annoying idea of blocking, of restricting both of these squares, then actually Koki's path back into the game, just in the last game, might be through a shared city. So maybe as red, you go over here, just drop the city cap, get the shared points, then you get a triple city, and then you connect over here. And then maybe Matt fails to block, and then you go over here, get yourself a city cap, get yourself a Dorito, run away with a bazillion points. Matt, with a city cap, now finishes his other city, drops a secondary farmer, puts more pressure on this square. This square is more sensitive than usual because Elias is pointing in the chat that there's only 1 road Dorito left into the game. And this now begs the question of what should the Japanese player do? There are multiple options. He could just go over here, try to protect the city indirectly, and then still hope for a Dorito plus dagger combo to finish himself a 16-point city, whilst also getting himself a 9-point farmer in the center as a path back into the game. He could go over here and defend the square directly. This would make the city a little bit harder to complete, because this would require 1 extra city cap over here, but with 3 triple cities remaining, this would be at least safer for the square initially. And this is the option that he chose. He could have just ignored that city whatsoever and gone for the quick points in Matt's field, decided that the city is his route. Now Matt, with another scoring tile, could either go for a 3-point road over here, or maybe a 2-point over here, but one that would create a blocking platform against this square. But Matt does neither, which surprises me. Instead, he adds a tile to Koki, which actually could backfire quite a bit, because Koki continues his city and is now 3 tiles away from completing it. Of course, one of those tiles is very, very special, but he's not drawing, he's not all, how to say this, it's not impossible that red completes the city at the moment. But Matt, with another city cap.
But there are, yeah, now given that Matt has the final starting tile, that triple city is starting to look quite juicy, the one that Matt just added to Koki. Because not only will Koki have to find the final dagger, but he might have to do some saving moves here just to prevent Matt adding a simple Dorito to the top of the city and guiding it left and making the city completely impossible to be finished. And if that case happens, then it's gonna be some real tough ride for Koki for the rest of the match.
Yeah, and so this now brings Koki to the dilemma, right? Because he could just now go over here. He can do the saving move right now to prevent Matt from drawing a Dorito and blocking his city in the way you described. But if Red does so, this will prolong his city even further, making him need even more tiles to eventually complete it. But this would also give the city more points. Another approach is to do what he just did and just ignore everything and said, you know what? The city's not good enough. How about I try to invade the big one? And so far it works. Matt gets a straight line, which probably is best used to just ignore this city entirely, if you ask me. Oh, actually, no, yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we could go to the top left, right? Yeah, and there we go. We restrict the city to the same dagger which Koki already needs. So, you know, if the worst case hits, I mean, Koki still has to find the dagger, but it is going to be the dagger and the dagger only, which will get Koki even a little bit of chance in this game right now.
And I think this is what it's going to come down to. As Koki, like, if you're doing this, this is what you're planning. So now, you don't take the 4 points, you go for it. With 20 points behind on the scoreboard, you go over here, you hope for the Dorito, you hope for the dagger, you hope for the crossroads as soon as possible. And then, if you win that city, you're not only back into the game, you're actually pretty much ahead. So I would be extremely disappointed to see Koki do the chickeny move and just take the 4 points over here. No, now it's time to invade. Elias was suggesting to invade on the right, but actually this would not have worked. No, Elias was suggesting Matt to defend on the right. If he were to get the straight line over here and put this like this, there's still the other invasion platform on the left through the one remaining Dorito. So there was no way to completely defend the city. This is why this move was actually so brilliant by the Japanese player. Now he's also trying to build up his other city. In case this tile here gets blocked, this square here gets blocked completely, he still actually can draw a city cap and the dagger here normally to finish his city over here. Now a difficult decision again for the Japanese player, as Matt, of course, just keeps munching on quick points. Probably part of that was off screen, but a city and a road and field points have been added to Yellow's possession, making it even more imperative that Red complete the city at the top and Red do so soon. But the question is, do we invade right now and simply cash in on those 20 or so points that are already in the city? Or do we wait for a Dorito tile to invade in such a way that does not open up a re-invasion platform? Because if you go over...
I believe we actually... Yeah, we gotta wait for a Dorito, because if you look at the board, I counted 20 city caps already out. Now 21 with Matt. So if you go with the triple city, you are gonna be needing not only the dagger, but also the other one and only remaining city cap to actually finish the project.
And
whereas
that's...
you have 4 Doritos.
Right, and then you only have... And you still need to use the dagger here. And of course, yeah, and also another thing with this move, not only does it expose an invasion platform, it also exposes the blocking platform. So some nice discipline from the player with the red meeples. It is tempting to cash in on the points immediately, but no, invading this ruin is not enough. You need to make it a city and a completed one. In the meantime, Matt keeps scoring. Now gets this lovely 5-point road, which also exposes a blocking square against this poor guy. Koki now, again with a difficult decision, and he really needs to have his priorities straight. Do we go over here and connect now? Or do we go over here to restrict the... I agree with Japanese move, but it's so disappointing to see.
Yes.
It's so disappointing to see this run out. And he would have had a Dorito anyway. Ah! And he would have had a Dorito anyway for even slightly more points. So Matt, of course, now completes the block and the game will be over. All these wonderful city points will be belonging to Red. And Red still has, I guess, a choice of completing this city and then preserving his lead on the 25-point ruin. But I don't think it's going to be quite enough. But wait. Let's just assume that Koki draws 2 more city caps, like instantly. Bam, bam. These are like 22 points. And then he suddenly has a meeple, which he can use to invade one of the fields. Is that enough?
He might even, I mean, if like if all the star signs are good, then he might even, go, for some reason, he might even do that. Like if he gets the city cap to the top part, then he gets like, I don't know, a curve or something, goes to the bottom and even tries to attack the field like through the dagger. Only if the remaining tiles are such that there are that there's very few blocking tiles, because obviously there are other connection platforms to the field anyway in this situation.
And there are multiple connections to the platform indeed. I think the one that you suggested through the dagger is the most efficient one. That's like, if you need to do multiple things and if you're behind, you really want to set up your tiles in such a way that one tile accomplishes multiple things. So if Matt is going to, at some point, well, maybe not now, go here, and if Red does indeed get the meeple back from this road, which they don't do yet, but they might do so next turn as they can consolidate here, then indeed invading through the square might be the way to go. But speaking of the invasion platforms, at least up until this move, it was possible to drop a farmer here and invade the main field through a straight line. It's actually possible to do so upon the completion of Red City, so maybe that's the plan. We finish a road, we get ourselves a dagger, we get the final city cap, drop a farmer, then get the straight line to connect over here and get ourselves an 18-point field on the left.
I just realized that we actually need more than the city caps, because there are no 2 city caps with the field on the right side, because the other city cap is the dagger and the other one is the barbed wire. So we need to get like a Dorito as well before the other city cap.
But there is no Dorito. There is, however, an extender. What? 2 of those. So we can get an extender, then we get the barbed wire, and then we get this.
But, it's just to say that we actually need more than the city caps, which is.
But still, technically, Red's still live in this game. I'm just so disappointed that the square got blocked. Like in hindsight, I'm not sure if that was correct to join immediately. It certainly feels like it's correct, because there were a couple of tiles that Matt could have drawn that weren't blocking tiles. For example, if Matt were to draw the monastery, or if you were to draw one of the 2 extenders. So then, of course, this wouldn't be a block. But then on the other hand, I think every other tile was a block, because we're out of city plus field tiles. And the only type of tile that doesn't fit here is either field plus field or city plus field. So we were looking at like a 60% blocking chance, at least maybe 70% blocking chance. So maybe Koki could have gone over here for indirect defense and then drew a shielded Dorito to connect to their city. Hindsight is, of course, 2020. It's Foregoing a Dorito for an indirect defense, of course, is an extremely difficult trigger to pull. But the more I think about this, I think it actually works, because if you place this Dorito over here, you restrict this blocking opportunities by so much. In fact, you're forcing Matt to draw a Dorito tile and a Dorito tile only to complete that block if the city side is facing down, if the city tile of the field Dorito is facing down. So then this means that you're only losing if Matt draws the tile that you need for the city connection anyway. So probably, like, once we've seen the tiles more, then I think objectively, for a better probability of ultimately completing the city, as red, you are probably better off foregoing this connection or delaying it and then going over here. It's not something that I know for sure, because this would require really a lot of calculation and certainly a lot of nerves to pull the trigger on. Well, Koki finally gets his meeple back from a road. It took so long, but that's because Matt created the blocking threat, and Koki used the rodents to defend and not score, not get his meeple back. So that's why blocking threats matter so much. Matt now, with an extender tile, but wait a second, there's still one of those left for Koki, so the 3-tile combo that's left here to finish his city still works. So let's see what Matt does here. If you're playing the yellow meeples here, Matt, you're probably looking to find a move that gives you a 100% winning chance, and I think Koki has to go for it. You go here, you probably drop a farmer, no? And then you hope for all these beautiful sequences that gain you the farmer and the city and the meeple back.
It's an option. Probably would have to take a look at all the other tiles that are still left. Like, see if that's worth to do now, or maybe we would have to just no, actually, never mind. Yeah, because we don't have enough tiles to invade the field after. We have to do it on the same tile that we use on the city.
Exactly, yeah. It's just going now and then bam, bam. And that's actually still doable, because you know what? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, farmer, please, Koki. Yes, let's go. The content move. The Japanese player is not giving up. And what does Matt do here? I think I know what Matt does. He has an extremely annoying move that could win him the game on the spot, but it is tricky to find. Let's just leave some 15 seconds for our viewers to find this in the chat. I'm sure that you see this auto. So one move that completely seals the deal for Matt, but it's not obvious to find. It should be easier to find now that you know the remaining tiles that Otto and I have been talking about. And Elias found it, saying drop a farmer on the other side. But it's not just about the farmer.
Yep. Yeah, I now see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just about the farmer. So first of all, we go over here, yes, with the farmer, with this idea that if Koki gets all the 3 tiles that he needs, then this means that we draw a straight line. Wait, actually, not necessarily, because Koki is still going to make 4 moves and they could still draw the straight line. But the main purpose of this move is not so much the farmer, it's blocking the city. Even though it doesn't block the city immediately, we know that the tile combo that Koki needs is an extender plus a barbed wire tile. And this move over here would pre-block the barbed wire tile with this field side. And this is what you have to see here in advance as Matt. And this move would seal the game completely. But instead, Matt goes for this move, which doesn't work. And also we know that Matt would have invaded the farmer. Koki gets himself a defense. Matt actually cannot block properly. Because... Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh, but that doesn't really do anything.
That doesn't do anything, exactly, because it helps. So Koki, of course, is going to go over here. Will then Matt get a blocking tile? That's the question. I think he will no matter what. Yeah, there's the blocking tile. But if only the tile draws were different, then Koki, what this move allowed, so it was an imprecision for Matt. This allowed for Koki to first draw this double city, this barbed wire tile, then place it here, and then draw this tile that he now placed, the extender. So, and also we never know. Matt might just panic and block the wrong way. But of course, you have to go over here and just deny.
Because this is now like just straight up blocking. This is not like pre-blocking. And like if you are the world champion, you gotta know these things.
Well, he is a bit short on time.
He is, but like I would say there's a 90% chance.
25 seconds on the board. Like, I know that Matt has miscounted in tournaments in the past. He does get the block, and oi, that has to hurt! Oi, this has to hurt! Poor Koki! It was so close! If only if he were to draw these tiles in reverse order.
Oh.
Well, Matt gets the dagger anyway, so there's that. Oof. But still, what a fight. What a fight.
Let's have a small round of applause for Koki still.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic effort.
So this is the difference between experts and masters. Like I get asked actually this question of the channel a lot, like what are the fundamental difference between experts and masters, and this is how masters play when they're behind. Instead of just rolling over and making your normal moves and losing by 10 or 15 points, no, you do this extremely risky stuff to at least have a shot at winning the game, just because it sometimes works. And man, those moments when it does work, we live for those moments. So the Japanese player does not manage to succeed this time, and they will be losing this game. Wait, 2-0, right? This was just game 2. Oh, I didn't expect that. Matt takes care of business in like 2 games against a higher rated player. And actually, I think... Oh yeah, so basically, just to finish my point, that there will be games where Koki does this kind of stuff and it works, and then he's gonna win those games when that matters, maybe later in the tournament. So a lot to learn for many of us, and a lot of to enjoy, many blocks, big cities, and just a really aggressive and tight play from both sides. Matt, despite some tricky imprecisions at the end, maybe doesn't get himself 100% probability, but you know, he was pretty close no matter what, and he does end up winning and has great chances of qualifying further. Now let's just see what the players are saying. Matt is definitely making a polite comment about drawing tiles. I typically don't do that. If I get good tiles, I just take it. And then let my opponent be annoyed, if they so choose. But also just wanted to point out, if Koki were to get the tiles in reverse, so let's say if he were to get the barbed wire tile first, and then this, and as his final tile, the connection tile, then the question is, does he actually win? Actually, I'm pretty sure that the answer is yes.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 plus 28 to 89. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wins with that. Because that's like plus 28, and then Matt actually gets like less points than he now has because he wouldn't have had the city cats to score.
Yep, exactly. I think like Koki wins by 3 or something. So let's see. So he were to invade, he would have a 15-point field because this city would not be here. So he would have, I mean, he would have an 18-point field, but he already has 3 points from here. So he would have 15 extra points. Oh, wait, rather 12 extra points because Matt would have scored with this farmer for this city. Okay, so 12 points from this part of the board, and then the city 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. The 12-point city would end up in a 28-point city. Yeah, as you said, plus 28. So he gets plus 16. 12 plus 16 because he's turning a 12-point city into a 28-point city by adding a couple of tiles and then doubling the points. And so that puts him up plus 2. And as you said, also a couple of more points because Matt does not get this 4-point city. So yeah, I think plus 3 is his final win. He would have won this plus 3, would have been just the comeback of the century. And also, the tiles were not that unlikely to be drawn. So let me think about this. So the sequence was this, and then these in any order. Wait a second, yeah, this and then these in any order. So how does that work?
And obviously you need to dodge tiles from Matt.
Oh,
so
I was
either block or connect.
Oh yeah, but I was thinking like if you were to draw this, so just right after Matt's straight road, if you were to draw the barbed wire tile, then this would cover up the city anyway.
Yeah.
So he needed to draw that immediately with 4 tiles remaining? Wait, with 5 tiles remaining. So that's like 1 in 5 chance. Okay, so 1 in 5 chance to draw the first one. And then for the next move, 2 out of 4 tiles. And for the last move, 1 out of 3. So that makes it a 2 in 60 chance, or 1 in 30. I should have remembered this. 1 in 30 chance. It's actually not, like, it's not that crazy. And definitely 3% is way better than 0%.
It's not about the percentages, it's about the style of how the percentages are gotten in the first place.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like with the style points and the emotional damage. Like imagine if he completes the city and wins the game that way. Like if you're Matt, just how are you playing the decider after this? You're just probably resigning on move 1. Elias is saying that it was pretty unlikely. Oh wait. I'm getting reports of static sound. And let me just take care of that. I think we should have gotten rid of that by now. What else? Yeah, but also like we need to make sure that we're talking really small percentages here. So it's not like these are like huge blunders. And Matt was definitely short on time as well. And like this curve move, which would have sealed the game completely, it's something that's really difficult to see. With or without a farmer, that's a secondary question. Alrighty, let me just update the score, because I haven't been doing that in the series throughout. But yeah, Matt 1-2-0, which puts him in a really good tournament situation, which is something that we're going to have a look. So what are we having ourselves here? Matt is now tied for first with yours truly, because this has not been updated. I have won 2 matches, but the second match was 2-1. So Matt and I have the same stats. Koki now with 2-2 is now sliding down to 4th place. No, to 3rd place. And then I'm not quite sure how Eastung and Meister 3-5 played. I think they might still be playing tomorrow or on Sunday. So that's the situation. It's going to be quite the battle for the first 3 places, and Matt looks to be in really good position by winning his first 2 matches. What are you going to say? All right, now it is past midnight UTC, and at least those of us who are in Europe will be going to sleep promptly. I at least going to speak for myself. Thank you, Otto, so much for joining. It was definitely much more refreshing to watch with your expert commentary as well.
No worries, no worries. Thanks for asking. I'm always willing to come by.
Yeah, so we definitely want to do more of those high-level matches soon enough, and there's going to be a couple of those in next round. And in this round, still, there are going to be some streams in the weekend. So tomorrow, in the middle of the night, the Japanese Master Pyro will be playing against Leo da Vinci of Portugal, with certainly where the Japanese Master will be the favorite. But, you know, we saw a Japanese Master getting taken down today. This could happen to his teammates as well. But this one I'm not streaming, because it's in the middle of the night. Then the match which I am streaming, that would be the Battle of the Lords at 12 UTC. For this one, I'm bringing another special guest, so make sure to tune into that one. And then on Sunday, I'm definitely streaming something. By the way, Brazilian playing, Warta versus Yuhai Hanemi, somebody who asked a question in the chat before. Meister 3-5 from Group C is playing against Eastung of Hong Kong also tomorrow. So there's probably going to be a stream for Sunday. I'm not setting up this yet because some matches have not yet been scheduled, and once there are more matches scheduled, then we can have ourselves better plans for streaming. Between all these duels, Otto, like if you had to pick one that you really would want to watch, what would be your priority? Who you think are going to be the most principled rivals here?
Well, out of the list, I would say I would go for Pyro and Pyro versus Leo. But sadly, I have to admit that it will be very unlikely that I will actually be watching their match myself either, because I am not a morning or even maybe an afternoon person to wake up on time. But maybe, well, unfortunately, Tarakanov and Secret Star has not been announced the date and time, but that will be my second pick, perhaps.
Oh yeah, of course, this is also like the controversial match, which some of our viewers may know about. So there were some debates about the time rules, and but the rules are what they are. They're very strict, and they were been enforced. Well, basically, this long story short is that one of the games was lost by Tarakanov due to a power outage, which is unfortunate, but it's just something that's what happens. Well, yeah. Pyro versus Leo da Vinci would be interesting, but again, middle of the night, so maybe for those of you who would want to watch it just on Board Game Arena, y'all are certainly welcome to do so. And I'm gonna see you at 12 noon tomorrow UTC. Just make sure to meeple the like button before you leave. And of course, because like Otto hasn't been uploading content in a while due to technical reasons, but this does not mean that it's gonna happen forever. I need to remind you, for those of you who don't know, that Otto is also a YouTuber with in-depth analysis videos. And even if it's going to probably take a couple more weeks before Otto can upload content again,
Well,
you
I
can
would say even more so a month or two even. I do have some updates because I have again paid a visit to the repair shop, and now the situation is that the Acer cannot provide any parts whatsoever. So they have basically thrown in the towel and said that we are not providing anything to you. So now we are going with the backup plan, and we are going to be doing some modifications for the cooling system, and we will be trying to switch out just a repair set of the fans, and that requires some plastic cutting to fit in the new ones, and the other ones kind of have to be just ordered strictly through eBay because no company is selling individual fans or selling them at all for apparently supply reasons. So, and because eBay does not provide any tracking codes or any trackability, no one knows when they are going to be coming, but they have been ordered. So that's the story.
So glad to hear that at least there's some progress, but for all of y'all listening, this is what you have to endure if you want to be a Carcassonne streamer. So these sort of technical difficulties are a part of our reality. But I was going to finish that despite all that, Otto still has a lot of content on his channel already, which you can go and watch right now. His YouTube handle is the same as his screen name, which is Nallerheim with 2 L's. And now, then we can wrap it up. Thank you so much, Otto, for joining. And thank y'all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.